Welcome back to a new video, and today we are dumping pretty heavily. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the charts to find out where the key levels right now are for Bitcoin and Ethereum to watch out for. As we are looking at the chart right now, this is the hourly. In the last 6 to 7 hours we are dumping pretty heavily, around 6%. We have broke through a very important resistance. Let me show you exactly what I mean. If we are zooming out on the 4 hourly, let me take away the ribbon real quick to make this a little bit better visible. We were kind of creating here a double bottom. At least that's kind of what it looked like, and that was kind of what I was hoping for. But in yesterday's video I also said I actually want this support that is around the 45,600 to hold, because we have tested it here, 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 here and here, and the more we test a support, the weaker it gets. So it was also a little bit to be expected that we're going lower and we're breaking down. Does this mean that right now everything overboard and it looks pretty bad? No, not exactly, because the next level that I'm looking out for right now is kind of the bottom here. It was the bottom of the dump of 4th of December. And if I'm zooming out even further on the daily, you could say that there is actually a kind of a gap still needs to be filled, if there is kind of a gap, which is this liquidity gap around here. So if we then draw it here, then kind of we are tipping our toes right now in that gap until approximately 40,000. So if we would go down and we would dip down here within 40,000, I am still remaining bullish. Right now I don't have any trades open, but I remain bullish, because then we have not really made a very lower low. That's kind of then comparable to the low that you see right here. I'm not taking it an extra $100 more or less. That is not so interesting on these pretty high price levels of 40, 50,000. So that's right now what I'm looking out for. If I'm zooming out even further, let me clear this real quick so that you can see it. What kind of is the last line in the sand is the ribbons right now. We are on the weekly, we are testing the bottom of the ribbons. We have seen this multiple times. It's okay if we move within the ribbons. Not ideal, of course you want to see a bounce, but we want to move inside the ribbons. And we have seen also a lot of times that we can bounce at the bottom, we can move inside, that is completely fine, and then we are going higher. What I do not want to see is that we close a weekly quite low below the ribbons. Is it's around this level, it's completely fine. Around the ribbon is completely fine, but I do not want to see it close below the ribbon on the weekly. And of course then if we zoom in on lower time frames, we have crossed the ribbons, of course, so that is kind of bearish. But on the weekly we are still bullish. On the high time frames, no man overboard so far. Like I said, this dump was a little bit to be expected because the bulls had just not stepped in yet. I might open up a trade if we dump further. Do not jump into any longs right now. If I would open up a trade, it is a short. But so far I'm afraid that the move might be a little bit over, because if we're looking here at the RSI, at the hourly, this right now at 21. That does not mean that this is the bottom. We can go much lower during dumps. The RSI can be oversold for quite a long time before we are jumping up, but this could be one of the first signals. Of course, on the high time frames we haven't reached that yet. I mean, here if we're looking at the 4 hours right now, we have a 28 RSI. Don't be this a leading indicator, but it just shows that there is more room to the downside to be really oversold on the 4 hourly. So don't jump into any long trades right now, because you might be catching a falling knife. I will buy more into my holding portfolio. So this is for me a buying opportunity, just to spot trade and to hold it for a long term. I am not going to open up any long leverage trading right now. Let's quickly look at Ethereum. Yesterday I also said in the video, and if you don't believe me, please watch the video of yesterday, that we are kind of forming this upwards channel or rising wedge. And then usually the chances of us of breaking down is higher than breaking up, because these patterns have the tendency to break down before we are moving higher. That's also exactly what happened. And also usually because we are going negatively, we're going in a downwards into the channel, then also a chance of of us breaking out to the downside is also higher. Then what's the price target? Well, actually for Ethereum we also already hit the price target, because if I check the width of the channel and then place it here, then you can see that we have kind of hit it already. Could it mean that this is then the dump and this is over? Not exactly. Of course, also here on the RSI we are pretty oversold right now, hitting lower than 20, but there are more key levels that I'm watching if we tend to go lower, and that might be here at the bottom of the wick, which is around 3400. We also had that then here on the 4th of December, which was the bottom. And if else, let me see where else we have a bit of a cluster. Yeah, so it is actually from around this level, so the bottom of the wick until here. So this would kind of be our liquidity level or liquidity pool, as you could say. So that is then 3380 until almost 3500. So if we wick in there, I am not afraid, and I'm not turning bearish. This is just another shakeout to get everyone out of the market, to put that sentiment really deep into the floor, very negative, and everyone thinks this is the end, and then we are moving higher. We have seen this over and over and over again. Let's quickly move to the daily. There is also a little bit more visible with the lines, what I said. And also of course here on the weekly ribbon you can see that we have much more space to go, because Ethereum just rose up quite a lot, so we have quite still some room to go. I am not afraid at all that this will turn out to be very bearish. Like I said, on the weekly we're just tipping our toes right now in this ribbon. And on the daily, yes, okay, we have broke it, but also we have not significantly lower like we have with Bitcoin. So don't stress, be chill. If you are trying to DCA in, this is a great time to do so. Buy just a little bit and hold it for the long term. Don't jump into any longs right now. If you are looking to long, if you're not shorting, there are also a lot of people do that. They only long or are staying on the sidelines. Then please do not jump into a long right now, because the only thing that I'm missing right now at this dump is the real capitulation, the real quick spike down, where in matter of minutes or 5 minutes we are just really moving heavily downwards, like we have seen here. Oh, very sorry. Like we have seen here on this dump that went extremely fast with a lot of volume, and you do not want to be liquidated. So please be very careful. This is the only thing that I'm really missing now for this dump. And as you can see here, there's a beautiful example. This is also on the hourly, how many hours we have been oversold before we kind of returned to normal levels on the RSI. So don't get caught up in the action. Don't place any longs. Let it play out. The markets will always be here. If you want a long, there will be a new opportunity. Come back tomorrow. Just see what this does, and then slowly try to build up your position. But do not jump into any longs right now, because I'm afraid you will or are going to hurt yourself. Okay, this was it today for this update. I hope you like it. If there will be more price action, then I might upload a second video. Please do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, click the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything, and see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye bye.